Welcome to the Can't Stop the Growth podcast, the home service podcast dedicated to personal and leadership development. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and if you're ready to grow as a leader, you've come to the right place. Let's jump in. Today we're going to talk, and it kind of goes in conjunction with kind of that spring cleaning theme and kind of rolling back out there as the weather changes. And the theme of today is initiative. So we talked last week about belief and the power of belief and believing in yourself and where that lies and what that does to your ability to achieve what it is that you want. So today, being that we're just a week later, one of those things that goes right along with belief is that of initiative. And so as we harness the belief in ourself, the next step is action. Belief can rest with you on the couch in the morning. Belief will not by itself get you there. It's a component, but we must act. There must be action behind what it is that you are doing and where it is that you want to go. If we think about all the dreams and aspirations that we've had growing up, the dreams and aspirations that we carry today, more than likely, if I asked you to write down on a list, if you want to get there, what do you need to do? My guess is that almost everybody could jot down a list of about 10 to 15 things that you would either need to start doing or, the hardest one, stop doing, right? Like if your goal was to lose 10 pounds, you could write down a list of 10 to 15 things that you need to start doing and stop doing really quickly. So if we know what to do for the most part, what's the next step? Doing it. We've got to do it. That is the key. That is when we know what to do, we've then got to do it. So once we get clear on what it is that we want to do and where we want to go and who we want to be known as and all of that stuff, we've got to do it. One of the prime examples, it was so funny, as I was literally looking in a book to grab a quote, I thought to myself, do I really like to read books? So I sat there for a minute. This was yesterday afternoon as I was preparing this. I go, do I really like to read books? And I came to the conclusion that I don't like reading. I don't like it. It's hard. It's somewhat demanding on the mental, I'm going to read this chapter. That's 20 pages. Oh, great. Only 360 more to go. I don't like that. I would definitely rather watch a documentary or do something like that than to read a book. I've tried to find other ways to read more efficiently or make it easier. I've tried listening to books. I've tried listening to books at 1.5 speed so that it really plows through the thing. I don't think I like to read. But I got a hell of a lot of books. I got more books at home. And so I said, well, why do I have all these damn books? Well, what it came down to, and as it pertains to initiative, is I know to be the person that I want to be, I've got to suck it up and read some damn books. I've got to find that information. I've got to know what others know. And the best way to do that is books. So you hear all the people, just not a reader, no one is, I don't think. I mean, there may be some people out there that really enjoy reading, not one of them. But don't think I'm going to be one of them either. I really don't. I mean, made it 35. I think back in school, like, oh God, chapter 2 on science class. the old flip the page, and it's like, I have no idea what I just read there, but I'm on to the next page. We've all been there. But it's those things that oftentimes we may not love to do, but we know that we need to do it. Dieting. Well, I'd sure as hell like to have pizza over some grilled chicken and vegetables, right? Pizza's much better, depending on where you get it. We're not going to get into that conversation. But what are those things in your life that you have decided that, that's just not for me, but in the back of your mind, you know that that's what you would need to do to get there? For me, it's books. And I've read a lot of books. But I can tell you, I've struggled through a lot of books too. Brittany made the comment that, he gets up at... I don't like to get up. I've talked about this one for forever. I'm not a morning person. I don't know anyone that is, frankly. I'm not. I've definitely rolled over this morning like, you have got to be kidding me. All right. Pick myself up, get some water, see if we can make this happen here. And I had laundry to fold. Oh, even worse. What if laundry folded itself? God, how great would that be? But yeah, those things are the things that I know that I need to do. No one's going to follow anybody at this company that rolls out of bed at 9:30 in the morning. Ugh. What's up, guys? How's it going? You guys been working for a while? Cool. It's great. All right, let's get to this. No, that ain't going to happen. So the first thing that we need to do is to understand that our initiative is the first step to anywhere that we want to go. But in order to move, so many people are just moving, right? That's why the world is extremely busy. There's always something to do. You probably wouldn't talk to anybody in this room that would say, you know what, I'm just not busy at all. Like, life is just kind of just creeping on. Like, this is great. I don't have anything to do this weekend, nothing to take care of. Like, probably just lay on the couch for the next couple of days till Monday rolls around. No one. Everyone's busy with something. But the important thing before we take that first step to anywhere is getting really clear on where it is that we want to go. How much time, how much activity is wasted on things that don't directly align with where it is that we want to go? So we can use our initiative to get things done, but is our initiative in line with where it is that we want to go? What I have found is it's very difficult to have initiative on something if you're not really clear on how that gets you to where you want to be, or if you're not actually clear on where it is that you want to go. If I were to ask you today, where do you want to be in 5 years? This is always a fun question. So most of the time you ask, where do you want to be in 5 years? Oh man, I don't know, that's a long way away. I have no idea. What's your day going to look like today if you have no idea where you want to be in 5 years? And I'm not saying you got to be like crystal clear, but having some sort of direction would be key in fueling your initiative for today. Because if you didn't know where you wanted to be, if you were unclear of where you wanted to be, what do you think the chances of you just rolling through the day are? Probably pretty good, right? Just getting through. It's Friday, sun's out. Yeah, let's just see if we can roll through here. Is it noon yet? Lunch? All right, cool, now we're moving. Or are you attacking the day with initiative? Understanding that every moment that I have is an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to pull me closer to where it is that I want to be. Think if you could harness that. Think about all the people you know and how many of them are fairly unclear on where it is that they want to go. It's a really easy game once you get clear. Once you get clear, you can then use initiative to push you along to wherever it is that you want to go. The other great thing about initiative, this is one of my favorite things, is it eliminates fear. Most people, if you ask them, why do you not know where you want to be in 5 years? It's because they're afraid. Fear comes in many different forms. You've got the fear of, heights. I personally don't like snakes. You've got all kinds of things. Fear in the sense of leadership and personal development comes from the unknown, the uncertainty of, well, I want to go here, but what if I don't get there? And there's a great quote that I think I've sent out in an email because it seems familiar. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But Norman Vincent Peale says, "Action is a great restorer and builder of confidence. Inaction is not only the result, but the cause of fear." Has anyone ever heard the term paralyzed by fear? Like, they're so afraid to do anything that they do nothing at all. I think we see this sometimes in this industry because of our recent commitment over the last couple of years to bring people from outside the industry into this industry. And so when you bring people in, well, obviously they don't know what to do. We got to teach them. But it's that ongoing initiative from those people that we're trying to find, that we're trying to add to our team, that are motivated, they're clear on where they want to go, and they're not paralyzed by that fear. But we have to understand the power of moving, of initiative, of if we're stuck, we've got to move. We've got to try something. We can't just sit. When I was in high school, my junior year, we had the defense always had, our defensive coordinator always made up shirts. And our junior year, our theme was speed kills. And that was like our whole thing. Like, it was like, we're doing everything and anything, and we're doing it fast. So we used to run these drills called pursuit drill, where you just like run across the field. Like you backpedal and then you just run to one sideline or the other. Thinking about it makes me want to vomit. However, the point behind it was that if you move fast, you eliminate a lot of fear. You also eliminate a lot of mistakes, because a lot of mistakes of what I have seen are due to inaction, sitting, idle. Because at the end of the day, we don't know everything. Like I said, if you had to write down the 10 or 15 things that you knew how to do to get where you wanted, when you get to like 12 or 13, you're probably thinking about all the things that you don't know how to do yet. Like, well, I got a pretty good list here, but I'm sure that there's more that I don't even know about. Well, what is the only way to find out what those things are? It's to move. You got to do something. We learn through action. We learn through stepping out of our comfort zone with initiative and doing something. If you're dead set on doing something, go, start doing it. What I can tell you is you'll get there a lot faster than most, and you'll probably beat most to it, because not everybody's thinking like that. We have umpteen dozen tours through here. I think I got dubbed last year the official tour guide. It's like what I did, just gave tours. So we cut them down to like one a quarter. Like, we have I think 15 or 20 companies coming in June, because we just there's only 4 days that you can come through and look. And the one thing that people always say is like, I had a buddy in town, whatever day that was, Wednesday. How do you grow this fast? Well, it's because we got a building full of doers. We want to move. I have to grow this fast. We have no choice because people are getting better by the minute. We're fixing things. We're changing things. We're doing things. And sometimes that is not for everybody. Some people are like, slow down. Ease up. But what I have found is that the faster we move, the more we learn. And the more we learn, the better company we can build. But we're not going to do that moving at a snail's pace. And some think we're crazy. But to me, where people think you're crazy is right on that line where you are using initiative. You are going out, you are seeking solutions. You are looking for what you don't know. We don't move fast because we know all the answers. We move fast because we want to find out what the answers are. Some of you are probably thinking, you don't know the answers? No. We changed like 5 things yesterday, trying to figure out how in God. Well, I don't think that worked. We tried that yesterday. Let's try something new today. Okay, try that. See if that works. That seems to be catching some traction. Let's do that again tomorrow. Okay, perfect. Didn't work as well, but I got this crazy idea when I was driving in from work. Do you want to try that? Sure, let's go give that a whirl. Make sure we don't break accounting. This will be great. That's always the prerequisite to any idea is don't break accounting. Okay, perfect. It won't. We can navigate that. All right, perfect. Because accounting touches everything, so you can't change one process without touching accounting. That's a lesson learned for everybody. I learned that last year. That was kind of a slow learn, but I am better now. So if Kayla is not involved in the conversation, then we don't move. We always say, what would she say? Okay, we need to go tell her. So we make sure that we do that and we keep everybody heading down the right lane. But we move fast. Because truly, when you think about it, that fear that people have about moving fast, about taking action, is really the fear of change. Because they know deep down inside they're going to have to change. And they're pretty comfy being who they are right now, right? Like the idea of being something different, definitely interesting. Definitely be cool. But I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at too. Do I really want to take that step forward? Or am I good just being where I'm at? What I will tell you is if you are extremely eager to be that next version of yourself, move fast. Move fast. Learn everything that you can. Stop putting off today, or stop putting off tomorrow what you could do today. What could you do today? I had that yesterday. I got to the afternoon, and I'd gotten a lot of stuff done in the morning. I'm feeling real good about myself. Ooh, good for me. This is great. Sun started coming out in the afternoon. You just get, that feeling. You're really, really high on yourself for what you accomplished. Got a few, multi-page Word documents done. Those are always treacherous, but got those done. Send on the email. You read it now. Your turn. I'm done. And then I was preparing this, and it said, speed kills. So I made another list. I said, well, crap, I can't go up there and talk about it if I'm not going to be about it. So I made 18 phone calls yesterday because it was stuff I needed to get done. Hey, can we do this? Okay, perfect. Get those people in here. Well, can you do it next week? Well, I'm going to be kind of out on vacation. Yeah, slam them on there. Let's do it. So we're meeting people at 7 in the morning next week. Does he want to interview that early? I don't know. We'll find out if he's really interested in coming. Get him up out of bed. But that's what moves this. If I were to say, you know what? Next week's just not good. Why don't we go ahead and move that out? Well, if we move that out, he takes a week to think about it, puts in his 2 weeks. We lost a month because I delayed like literally a day. See how that compounds when you don't move fast? So we always talk, recruiting here is that number one example. If you are to put off an interview that you could do on a Friday, if you put it off till Monday, and we only onboard here every other week, if you put that off till Monday and then he takes a couple days to think about it, and then you got to get the paperwork, all of a sudden you could lose literally a month's time with a person over 24 hours. That's how life works. When we don't move fast and we delay, the delay compounds. Or we could learn today what it is that we need and we can move. While it eliminates a lot of fear, initiative also illuminates opportunities. What aren't you seeing standing where you are today? If you were just to go through the motions today, what aren't you seeing? What are you not allowing yourself to see? Waiting for something to happen is a great way to never see that opportunity. Who's ever known somebody that just waited? You know what? I'll get my shot when it's time. No, you won't. No, you won't. I've talked about this so much, and I think it's so powerful, is acting like whoever it is that we want to become. Knowing full well that we aren't that person today. And that's okay. Because the only way to see those opportunities is to move, is to use your initiative. Who has ever heard of a really successful person just waiting their turn? Just patiently waiting. No one. No one. No one who has ever been successful has just patiently waited around. They moved. Even if it took them a long time to get there, they'd been moving fast for a really long time. There is always something to be done. Again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Think about how much time is wasted on things that are not helping you get to where you want to go. And I'm not advocating for you just work 24/7. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is there is always, regardless of the situation, there's always something to learn. Always something to learn. I was thinking about this. Think about the opportunities you have as a parent to learn about leadership. There's a lot of them, right? A lot. If you can lead your kids, well, shoot. Okay. Some days I wonder, like this morning, when I'm trying to get in the car. Luckily, you can pick them up sometimes. Come on, let's move. Think about what you could learn this weekend in having a good time with your friends. What could you learn? All of these instances are opportunities to learn. And again, that doesn't mean you have to be working all the time. That's not what I'm advocating for. What I'm advocating for is to open your eyes and move towards what it is that you want. Maybe, yeah, you've got a really fun Saturday planned, or, kids baseball or whatever it is, but could you wake up an hour early and get a few pages of a book in? Could you, hey, make the commitment that, you know what, we have a busy day here, but I'm going to be the best damn dad known to man today. Like, I'm going to go out of my way to be just super dad. Probably learn something. Probably be a good leader that day. What is it that you can see by moving, by pushing that ball forward? There's always opportunities to do so. One of my favorite parts about initiative is it represses frustration. Think about that person in your life that's always frustrated. Always frustrated. I mean, like, literally, sky is falling on them 24/7, or so they think. Now, if we had to pool all those people that we're now thinking about together into a room, they would have some things in common. And one of those things that they would have is that they would every single one of them would lack initiative. I can guarantee you. Now think about that person you were thinking about, and am I right? They lack initiative. They aren't willing to take responsibility for a damn thing in their life. Like, they are a professional excuse maker. Like, they could literally, rear end somebody, and they would blame it on the car in front of them, stopped too soon in front of the car in front of them. Those are the people I'm talking about. So you've thought about that person. Think about the last time you were frustrated. We all get there. Mine usually happens in the morning, but I'm trying to get the family ready. And what I know about that frustration, when I feel it, what I've started to do is take responsibility for it. Now, how do I do that? I'm going to explain this very carefully because I'm sure that some of you have experienced this frustration in the morning. So, the frustration in the morning is usually because I have packed too much stuff into the whatever it is time that we have to get the two kids ready for school. Tried too much. Got laundry, got this, need to do this, didn't prepare for this yesterday, ran out of time, so I had to do it this morning, and it took more time than I thought, and all of a sudden the baby's up, and he needs fed, and I'm feeding him, and time's flying by, and I need to get them to school, and at the end of the day, who caused all of that? Me. Try it. Try it the next time that you get frustrated. Find out how you contributed to that frustration. When something is, we talk about this a lot here in leadership, is taking responsibility. The hardest thing about being in a leadership role is you have to take responsibility for 100% of those that you lead's actions, and you have zero control. Zero control. Because at the end of the day, you can't run the call, you can't pick up the phone, you can't solve the issue for them. They have to do it themselves. Now, we can work really, really hard to prepare them. We can work really hard to support them, train them, all of those things. But when something breaks down, you, as the leader, have to take responsibility for that. It's when we don't take responsibility that nothing ever gets fixed. When we use our initiative, and it's okay to get frustrated. Don't get me wrong, because I'm going to get frustrated one day next week. I'm going to get frustrated maybe today. Who knows? I think I already was when I was trying to get her in the car. Shame on me. But whose fault is that? If I would have folded my laundry the night before, I would have had an extra 10 minutes and we wouldn't have been as rushed to get into the car. But I didn't, because I was tired. So I went to bed. I had to fold my laundry this morning, because I can't stand when you leave your shirts in there and they get all wrinkly, and then it's like, why did I do laundry? Crap. As you encounter frustrations in your life, understand what it is that you can do to make the situation better. What you will find is you have to use initiative to do that. You know what? He screwed this up. I'm having him in tomorrow. We're going to go over this. Hey, man, I know you had trouble with that yesterday. You know what? I'm going to take responsibility for that because I don't know that I went over it. I don't know that I connected with you when we train. What can I do to help you not do that again? Because I want to see you succeed more than probably you want to succeed at this point. I am dead set on you being a great technician. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Tell me. That is taking initiative. Not going off in the corner and talking about how much Billy sucks at being a technician. We know Billy's struggling. There's no Billies in here, is there? No, we're good. Perfect. Not talking about anybody specific. I made the name up Billy. Urgency, moving fast, using initiative, that is what will allow you to control your life. Anybody ever been in a spot where you thought your life was out of control? Like, I can't. What am I going to do? What you probably found, if you look back at that point when you got control back of your life, was you used initiative to go fix it. You used initiative to get it back on track. Because that's how we do things. We don't get things done by sitting and waiting. You move forward in life by going and taking what you want. Just take it. There's so many resources out there in this world that if you wanted to truly do something, you could go and learn it probably over the next 6 months. So what's stopping you? What is holding you back from accessing those resources? They're out there. And ultimately, the greatest part about it is it'll cure a lot of your frustration. It'll cure a lot of what is happening to you and you feel like you have no control over it. The other thing initiative does is it allows you to control the consequences. As we talked about, when you take responsibility for your life, you control the outcome. One of my favorite quote in this presentation, one of my favorite quotes that I ran across here is, I don't know who this guy is, but seems like a smart dude. Sir Josiah Stamp. It is easy to dodge our responsibilities, is it ever? But we cannot dodge the consequences of dodging our responsibilities. Say that one more time, because I had to read it twice myself the first time. It is easy to dodge our responsibilities, but we cannot dodge the consequences of dodging our responsibilities. Think about that. When we neglect what it is that we are responsible for, we can't control those consequences. Even if your responsibility yields something negative, like I took responsibility for this and shoot, we came up short. Okay. Well, if you took responsibility for it, all you did was learn something. It's when we don't take responsibility for what it is that's happening in our life that we can't control the consequences, because we're waiting for it to happen. We're sitting back and just waiting for life to take us wherever it does. How powerless is that? We've all been there, though, right? We've all been there. Well, I guess I'll just wait and see what happens. yeah or no. Go do it. Go do something. Even if you don't know the answer. As long as no one's going to get hurt, what's the worst that could happen? We're going to learn something? What if we could control the consequences? We can. But it's also very difficult to take responsibility for everything in our life. Because that's not how we're wired as humans. We're wired to keep ourselves safe. Responsibility naturally infers that you could get hurt. When you take responsibility for something, especially something that didn't go well, that insinuates hurt or wrongdoing or I have to take the blame for this. There is a very distinct difference between taking blame and taking responsibility. Taking blame gets us nowhere. One, because no one wants to do it. So when no one wants to do it, really nothing ever gets learned. Because all we do is spend time talking about how that wasn't my fault, I didn't do it. So, I mean, figure it out, man. Ain't my bad. Or do we approach the situation as how could I help? Where could I be of assistance? I know this didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to, but shoot, let's figure out a new solution. We don't need to get all upset. Just figure it out. Everybody's okay, right? Good? Perfect. Okay. Well, let's go a new way. It's not the end of the world. But that's the fun in using initiative. That's the fun because there's always something to learn. Just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Blame pulls us backwards. When we take responsibility, we still move forward even when bad things happen. We still move that needle. Shoot, we didn't hit our number yesterday, but by God, I don't want to do that again. I've got some training set up. I'm taking responsibility for this. I'm going to get out with the guys. We're going to do something. You're still moving forward. Like you may have taken a step back, but those actions, while you may not see the result, 24 hours from when something happened, taking those steps is going to eventually result in what you want. But most people, even the people that are brave enough to take responsibility, the thing we have to understand about taking responsibility, especially for something that doesn't go right, is it may not go right once you take responsibility for it immediately. So usually it's either something negative happens, blame, moving backwards. Okay, cool. Something negative happens, oh shoot, I remember from this one time early in the morning, they said, take responsibility. So here I am. Let's take some responsibility. You take responsibility, you're moving forward. It doesn't go right the next day. Oh, shit, I'm blaming somebody else. I did the responsibility thing. I did my part. Now it's on you, buddy. No, we still have to take responsibility. And the cool thing about taking responsibility is if you can train yourself to use your internal initiative to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life, guess what will happen? People will follow you. They will run through that wall for you because they know that you will be right there next to them. When we blame, we essentially as leaders stand back here and say, hey, go run through that wall. No one wants to run through that wall. Why would I run through that thing? Seems like it would hurt. But if they know that you as the leader will take responsibility for whatever happens, guess what they'll do? They'll run right through that wall. They don't care what the consequences are because they too begin to take responsibility for what it is that they do. And when everybody's taking responsibility, you control the consequences. We're going to run through this and we may get hurt, but by God, we'll be right there with each other. Surely one of us can take the other one to the hospital, you know? There's two of us. What are the chances of us both hitting a stud, you know? Like one of us is going to make it through here. Now, if you hit one, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's wood construction. Don't do the wall experiment. You know, if we had metal studs, you may be able to bend one and kind of fall through. I think they're metal in the new building. I'll double check. But they're wood here, I'm fairly certain, so don't try that. Wood construction, it'll get you every time. Damn it. I'll have to run through the wall example. The last thing that we'll talk about as it relates to initiative is the power that it has to create motivation. So the big thing around here that we constantly reiterate is that a leader's job is to inspire those that you lead. Our values are all around inspiration. Lead ourselves. Well, what does that have to do with leadership? Well, leading yourself sets the example as to what you expect from those that you lead. If you want to be a leader and you end up rolling in here 5 minutes late every day, well, guess what? Not super great. Are you leading yourself? Are you the leader that's getting up, you're figuring out things, you're right on top of it, you're always there for people? The initiative that you seek to use in your life will create your motivation. Because it is very hard to get motivated standing at the start line. Very hard. We don't know what's going to happen. We're unsure of the consequences. We're unsure of the result. And those that are able to harness that initiative, that are able to move, that are willing to step out and sacrifice potentially failing, those are the ones that create that internal motivation. You know, oftentimes as you know, the thing gets passed around here, you know, how are we going to motivate people? I'm a firm believer in that it's very difficult to motivate people that don't have initiative. You know, we can inspire people, but they've got to have that motivation. And that motivation comes through using initiative. If you've got someone who's not willing to change, someone who's not willing to move, who lacks initiative, they're going to be very difficult to motivate. Almost impossible, actually. How are you going to motivate them? They don't want to move. They don't want to change. They don't want to do anything except for what they're doing currently. And even if what they're doing currently is really good, guess what? It could probably be better. I bet I could find someone who's doing it better. And it's not that their way's wrong. It's just that they could maybe do it better. Don't wait to be motivated. You have to create your own internal motivation. And we do that by moving, by doing things. Because when we do things and we take responsibility for whatever it is that happens, guess what? We start learning, we start growing, and then that motivation is super easy. You know, I started out this by saying to everybody, which I'm sure was a shock, I don't like to read. But guess what? When I pick up that book and start learning something in there, like someone just sent me a book the other day, and I read it, the first, it was soapbox here. When your introduction to a book is like 10 pages, can that not just be chapter 1? Like, introduction should be like maybe front and back of a page. I get it. Here's what's going on. When you read an introduction and then you get to, you're 20 pages deep in chapter 1, what? I spent an hour on the introduction. But anyway, the reason I say that is because this introduction was fantastic. Well, guess what? That gave me the motivation to keep reading because I was learning something. So reading may not be fun. I may look at those books and be like, God, that's going to take me a while to get through. I don't know if I have the motivation to do that. That initiative creates that motivation. Who's ever picked up a book and you're like, oh my God, I'm like really excited to get to this next chapter. Like, I really want to find out what's going on here. Like, I'm really starting to feel this. This is good. I'm learning a lot. I got quotes. I got all kinds of things. Things are becoming clear. This is great. That's initiative. And there's going to be sometimes when you're going to pick up a book and you're going to read and you're going to do that one thing that we talked about in science class where you read the page and you have no idea what you just read. And that's okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep reading. We're going to keep trying it. Because guess what? It'll click at one time. And that's when you're going to learn something. And that's when you're going to move forward. And you're still moving forward, even if you don't remember what was on the page that you read before. Because once you remember that I didn't remember anything, guess what? You focus in on that next couple of paragraphs. You may learn something from there. It's all about moving. And knowing that I'm not going to get a result today. But that's okay. That's why we have to divert our attention from the result and focus on using initiative, which guides our process. That's it. Fall in love with the boring journey to where it is that you want to go. Not everything's going to be exciting. There's going to be days that really suck. There's going to be things that you are going to run into probably today, maybe early next week, that are going to feel like, what in the hell am I doing? This is not fun. But at that point in time, what I want you to do, because you're frustrated, you're thinking you're not moving forward, what I want you to do is I want you to take a step back, assume responsibility for whatever it is that's happened, even if it's, some tech has misdiagnosed a furnace. Take a step back, take responsibility, and then find a way to make a positive impact through initiative. Because guess what? They'll see that. You guys can probably all think of a time when you, maybe not knowingly, but that's just who you are, is you took responsibility for what someone did that maybe turned out to be a negative result. And think about that. Think about the look on their face when you did that. That's what you want to aim for. That he does know I did that, right? He didn't misdiagnose that. That was me. But he seems to be taking all the blame for this one. Yeah, man, I got you. It happens all the time. I've done this before. We've all made mistakes. We're going to learn to not do that again. Because as much as everyone likes swimming, they don't like swimming in their basement. So we don't want to do that again. Guys, the biggest thing with this, if you want to develop yourself, if you want to be a leader one day, if you want to do something, become something else, understand the power of action. The power of going and doing and just stop waiting. Stop waiting for it to happen and just go do it. Take some time today. Write down those things that you know that you need to do and or stop doing to get where you want. Create that motivation. Do it today. Understand that you will not see a result tomorrow. If you see a result tomorrow, you'll know that you set your sights way the hell too low. It should take a while to get where you want to go. It's a good check. If I can win by tomorrow, maybe we'll set our sights a little bit higher. Where is it that you want to go? Get clear on that picture, because that's going to help fuel that initiative. Don't be wandering through life waiting for something to happen. Because guess what? If you don't know what you want to happen, you will have to settle for whatever it is that you get. And no one should have to do that. No one should have to do that because you have the power to change that. You have the power to get whatever it is that you want. But the only way that you're going to get there is by using initiative, by taking control of everything in your life. Understanding that you have the power to influence all that happens, indirectly or directly. Most of the time, indirectly. That's the hard part about leadership. You have to influence from afar. You have to inspire, but you can't do the work. And most of you that are leaders, you know how to do the work really, really good. Like you're really good at it. But you can't do it. They have to do it. And they will be motivated to do it when they understand and see your initiative into inspiring them.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, I would greatly appreciate if you would rate the show or share it with someone who might enjoy it. As the name suggests, we are always looking to grow, so let me know in the comments what you thought and if there is anything you would like to hear on future episodes. Come back again soon, and always keep growing out there.